really wish you guys could see Ginger down below dancing to the intro music. That was pretty cool. Hello and welcome. I'm glad you guys all came. Appreciate it. I want to say hello to everybody inside chat. Joe, Fix It For You. Awesome channel. Should go check it out if you haven't. Rena LaRue, thank you for coming in. Bev Botkin, thank you for coming in. And Stephanie, I'm going to bring everybody up. So we have Michelle from Big Valley Living. We have Dale, who is in the middle of a basketball game, so we will intermittently discuss with him certain things. And we have Ginger and Zoe from Not Nothing Homestead. Hello.
Hello.
And I did see Teresa joined us. I do want to make a really good announcement. Stephanie Harrett, Large Family Diabetic Cooking, is currently sitting at 514 subscribers. She is growing. So congratulations
Bravo.
to you. Good job.
Way to go, Stephanie.
Nice
Yay.
job. Yay.
That's very cool.
That's wonderful. Yes.
That is.
So hello, Deb R. for coming in. Renee Pike Creek Farm, thank you for coming in. So how's everybody doing today?
Good. I'm
Good.
loving the big band music in the beginning.
I know that was pretty groovy. I want
Yeah,
to put
I like
a
it.
dress on.
I like it. Something different. Mary Love, Country
Yep.
Living, thank you for coming in. Dale, can you
Hello,
take a second to
hello.
say hi?
Hi, y'all. And yeah, I'm doing really good right at this second. Give me 39 seconds and I'll let you know how good I'm doing. But as of right now, go KSU. We're doing good.
All right. So
Okay.
we'll come back to Dale in a minute. How you doing, Michelle and Ginger?
Good. Good.
Good.
Good.
Enjoying a lovely lazy day afternoon. Love
Watching
Yes.
the basketball game, the same one Dale is with
JJ
JJ
is.
there.
Yeah, I had a friend over. It was
Not
very,
me.
we had a really fun morning. So it was good.
It's been a cold, windy day here in Georgia.
Baby
Hence
is
the
cold
reason I have like
outside.
5 layers on.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
See, I'm just like Rena. I just see a black square where Michelle's at. Now she's there.
Really?
Oh,
Oh,
really? I didn't know that. She looks like she's there to me.
yeah.
Rena LaRue said she couldn't see you either, Michelle.
I was looking a minute ago and I was gone too. I mean, I have the other screen on for chatting, so I
I
disappeared
don't
and
know.
came back. I'm
Weird.
magic.
Oh, okay.
She's here.
She's here. Mimi's dishes. Hello.
Thank you.
Oh, sorry. I didn't know if you
Gail.
saw her or not.
I did. Gail, Renee wants to know how's her bracket is broken.
Well, your bracket is fixed as long as you had K-State University winning, because right now it's 68-62 over
Oof.
Kentucky
with 37 seconds.
with 37 seconds.
Oh,
Mary
Goodness
Love
gracious.
Country Living made her quiche and absolutely loved it and posted a video of it today.
Oh yeah,
All
I'm
right.
gonna check it out.
Very
Yo.
good. Very good.
And hello,
Yep.
Rhonda. Hello,
Mine
Dirt
is
Road
done as
Destiny.
well.
Videos.
Yep.
Mine is done
All
as well, and it comes out on Tuesday for Pies of March. Got it done. I just got to edit it, but I already ate it, so it's good.
It's good.
It's good.
I don't have room for it after the 200 meatballs made yesterday, so that's where mine's at right now. So.
Did you eat 200 meatballs all by yourself, Tony?
No, I made 200 meatballs
Oh.
yesterday. It's for dinner tonight. So
What's on the menu?
Swedish meatball sliders and barbecue meatball sliders.
Ooh.
Yep.
Did you make all
Now,
the
which
buns
one are you
too?
making a bigger batch of?
And I'm splitting it down the middle.
Oh,
What'd you say,
okay.
Michelle?
Did you make the buns too?
Patty did.
Oh my
Oof.
goodness.
Yep.
Yay, Patty.
Yes.
No,
Yay,
Go, Patty. Is it just
Wow.
me or is Michelle frozen now?
Michelle's frozen now, but we can hear her still. So
So that's good. Yeah.
I am frozen. I can see myself frozen.
yeah, but at least it's not one of Ginger's awkward positions.
Yes.
Or
Psych.
the pixelated broken phone on the floor. I'm kidding.
Oh no. Stephanie said she's not sure how long she can stay. Her daughter ended up with hand, foot, and mouth disease, I'm assuming.
Oh,
So she's
Yeah.
helping her daughter care for the babies that are 2 years old. So that's
Oh, my
fine. You know, do what you got to do, Stephanie.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I hope that goes away quickly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Uh,
I am
Rhonda
still
says she has.
frozen. Am I still frozen?
You're still
Yeah.
frozen,
I'm
sister.
gonna go out and come back. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. See you in a minute.
All right. Rhonda says that she has 2 shorts out, so that's kind of cool.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Nice. And you don't get notifications. Well, my son says you get notifications for some shorts, but I don't think I've ever gotten any notifications for shorts.
I've
I
never
don't
got a
think I do.
notification for a short.
Yeah.
So we'll definitely go check those out.
I get them occasionally.
Are you back
There
with
she
us?
is, and she's
You're
unfrozen.
moving.
And you're unfroze.
Live.
Yay!
You thawed out.
You're,
You're thawed
I'm
out.
not.
With my short sleeve shirt on.
Oh, I've got
Yeah.
5 layers, and Michelle's dancing around in a short sleeve shirt, and so is Tony.
It's a
I don't
bonus
even want to talk
61 here today.
about
Oh,
What
hey,
is your-
Tony, do you see that question from Mimi?
Yeah. Rhonda wants to know what the difference between just posting and prioritized posting is. I've never
heard of prioritize.
never heard of it, so I can't help you with that.
Yeah,
Anybody
I don't
else?
know either.
Premiere, maybe
If you're talking
Premiere-
about Premiere
Premiere.
posting, that's different because then you're setting a time, and the intention is that you'll be in chat to have a conversation while the video's posting. So
Yeah. See, Teresa's
Um,
like me. She's got on 3 layers. She's cold too.
Michelle, my corny casserole is out of the oven, and wow.
Renee and I were chatting earlier today, and so she was
Hello,
telling me about
Teresa.
an awesome casserole she's going to make. I can't wait to see it.
All right. So today we're talking about aging in your pantry. Okay. So while that implies a specific conversation, I think it's good to look at it more than just aging. That could also apply for a medical issue that has arisen, the size of the family's downsizing, relocation.
Mhm.
We could go on with a list of different things, but I think the gist of the conversation still can apply to all those things. And we'll deal with that as we go through it. So Suburban Hillbilly, thank you for coming in. What would you guys, from your perspective, what would you think would be considerations that somebody should need to make when they're looking at their pantry? And it's not the pantry that they established is no longer the viable approach to a pantry. What would you think would be those issues that would arise?
One thing that I would look at would be and I mentioned this earlier, would actually just safety in the pantry. Make
Okay.
sure that you have a strong step ladder. Make sure that you have things that if you get on said step ladder, you don't fall over and hit your head. Because
Mhm.
you don't want that. But also, we've kind of downsized. Our appetites are not what they used to be. And so I'm not putting as many large things in the pantry. Like when we make chili now, we don't need to have 50 gallons. You know, we just,
Right.
I try to keep it in one pan. It never works, but I try. So I'm trying to can more like in smaller quantities, right? Like maybe a half pint of meat for lunch, because that might last us 2 lunches, or
Right.
Smaller quantities of beans. Maybe instead of a quart, maybe go back down to pints or soups.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah. And I that's, you know, and also the design of your pantry or where your pantry's at,
Mhm.
because
Mhm.
like our pantry, what we use as a pantry, because we don't have a given room, you
Mhm.
know, is down really low by the floor. Well, I've got some back problems and I've got, some neck problems and stuff like that. It's extremely hard for me to get down in that thing,
Right.
so I find myself, I don't want to go to the pantry because I'm going to have to eventually crawl on the floor to get it into
Right.
it.
Yeah.
Um, so I agree 100% with that. Not to mention, like you're saying, the size of items that you're putting in there.
Mhm.
You may not be as strong as you used to be, and that could cause an accident, or that could cause you to hurt yourself because you're afraid it's going to fall.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Um,
Mhm.
I want to say hello to the purring lady. I see that she just came in. And I'm not trying to cut you off, Ginger, because I want you to also answer that if you got something.
Mhm.
But I'm seeing a lot of ideas or thought processes in the chat. Cut out sodium is one.
Mhm.
Um, can't lift what you used to anymore because of an injury, and so that causes problems. Mary Love said that she had to quit using quart jars and just uses pint jars since it's just her and her husband. Now that's going to do a dual thing because you're not expending as much product, and it's also easier for you to transport, move around, and whatnot.
Mhm.
Suburban Hillbilly said no more 5-gallon buckets. She's doing 2 and 3-gallon buckets, and they're not stuffed full anymore. That's a great idea.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Must be the game.
Must be Dale's yeehawing and disappears. So, and the way, and Michelle does put in there that the weight is definitely a factor. I mean, that's important for people to use. I know for us anymore, I don't do the quart jars just because it doesn't fit our style. It doesn't fit what we do. But problem being, there's a flip side to that. Okay. So be cautious of that. And what I'm going to say with that is, instead of doing 4-quart jars, you're now doing 8-pint jars. That does mean more moving and more parts to play with and work with and whatnot. So be cautious of that. That's all I'm trying to say.
yeah.
Ginger, did you have anything to add?
Yeah. And I was gonna kind of tag along on Renee at Pike Creek Farms. I don't use my quart jars anymore for like beans or anything like that. I have switched to using my quart jars mainly for broth.
Mm.
Because it's not worth it for me to put it in pint-sized jars because I usually end up using at least 2 quarts.
Right.
I'll put, like, if there's a straggler, I'll put 1 pint in with 6 or 7
Right.
quarts of broth.
Quarts.
But for the most part, that's what I do with my quart jars. But I didn't get rid of them because your dehydrated stuff stores very nicely in quart jars,
Right.
and they're not nearly as heavy.
And
You
Right.
can
right,
cram
yeah.
a lot of dehydrated spinach
Yeah.
into a quart jar. And
Yeah.
I just used my dehydrated spinach tonight in my quiche for my Pies of March video. Yes, I'm very
You're
excited.
very, very like snooty.
Snooty.
Oh, so
I'm
you're
sorry,
shady
not for
and
my
snooty.
Not for my quiche, for my egg pie. Okay, I
Egg
made
pie.
an egg pie today. Okay.
Yeah.
The other thing is my spice cabinet now looks completely different than it did before. Taste buds have changed. I've
Yes.
changed the salt we use. A lot of it is I'm dehydrating herbs that we make. We make our own Italian seasoning, so I've got that in there. So our spice cabinet has really evolved into a whole different beast than what it used to be a long time ago. It used to be full of Lowry seasoning salt everywhere.
Right. Right.
Oh my gosh.
Montreal steak.
That is JJ.
Yeah. And I hardly use Lowry seasoning salt anymore at all. Hardly ever anymore.
Well, the benefit we have here at the house, cutting out salt, has not been an issue for us because we don't typically use it like most people do. It's specifically used just to enhance a flavor. We're not sitting there doing this on almost most of our items. It's already added into the food, and that's where we leave it.
Yeah. Can I answer Stephanie's question?
Can I get to it first?
Oh, yeah, sure. Go ahead. Yeah.
The other thing that goes along with it, and I want to go back up to the purring lady made a point. Never get rid of your canning jars because those jars can be used for other items just because they're not any longer. I have, I think we counted the other day, I have 4 quart jars that have very subtle cracks in the bottoms of them, but I can still use that for dry stuff. You know, the
Or
cracks
even
on
in
the
the
outside
bathroom
of it,
for cotton balls or something.
or whatever.
Right?
Yes, I agree to that. I do agree to
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
But so then moving on to, I'll jump into Stephanie's question. What is the difference between hang drying herbs and putting them in the dehydrator? I have not dehydrated yet, so I'm going to let you guys answer that question because I don't want to be wrong.
It is faster. Destiny was spot on. When you hang dry stuff, it takes usually about, on average, 2 weeks. It depends on what your humidity level is, what your temperature is. Hang drying is very good also. But dehydrating, you can have it done and put into a jar within 24 hours. I mean, usually most herbs go a lot faster than that. And spinach, I can dehydrate usually a full thing of a full dehydrator of spinach. I can usually do it, within a day. I'll have it all done and then packed into jars. So,
how much
yeah.
do you get out of that, Ginger? Do you crush it down into like a powder, and how much do you get as far as the volume?
I don't crush it into a powder. I leave it in leafy form.
Okay.
And
So
I
you would use
crack,
it like
crack them down.
Okay.
And push them down in there. So out of a pound of spinach, which is that big Mac Daddy that you can get,
Yep.
I can fill up my 5-tray Nesco dehydrator.
Okay.
And I can get about, see, I have those Weck jars that have the clamps on the side.
Yes, I love
And
those.
I have one, it's a little bit more than a pint.
Mm-hmm.
And I can get about 3 of those filled with that spinach.
Right.
And then do you just sprinkle it into your soups and stews like you sort of would use basil in a way, but more the quantity?
Yeah. Well, I did, like in the quiche I did today, I did 1/3 of a cup of that spinach in there. And I mean, the spinach is everywhere and it's really good. It was really good.
So I want to jump in here. Mary Love Country Living is asking, what herbs do you use for seasoned salt? I actually try not to add more salt, but what I'll do is I'll usually use a basil or an oregano or an Italian seasoning. And then I'll add into that. Usually I'm adding a garlic or a onion powder or a garlic powder, but whichever I'm using powder, the other I will use salt, if that makes any difference. So I'm not adding flavor and then adding salt into it. I'm adding a flavored salt, if that makes any sense.
So
that
many
way
people, go ahead. I'm just agreeing with you. So many people, they put garlic salt, then they put onion salt, then they put celery salt, then pretty soon it's salt.
Right, and which I would assume I'm not scientific. I've not pulled the parts apart. I've not had it turned in to find out what it is. But I would assume your Lowrys and your Johnnies are doing what Dale just said: onion salt, garlic salt, then salt, and salt, and more salt.
And
I try to minimize. I'm trying to minimize as much salt as I can. Now, again, salt has its place in flavor, but if I can introduce it in a garlic salt or an onion salt, stand alone and still get that salt flavor, then why should I add 10 more pounds of additional salt into it? So,
And
Yes.
we've been buying the garlic powder and the onion powder as opposed to the salts.
right.
And I'm not even buying the granulated anymore. I am getting powder.
Mhm.
Powders go a lot further in the
They
flavor
do.
to me.
Yeah.
It's hard to find them in some areas or some grocery stores, so it can be a little bit challenging. But JJ's been building our pantry. One of his focuses have been like, we love Mexican oregano, like we like garlic. Okay, so it's and chili powder and cumin, and garlic salt, garlic powder and onion powder. And he's to a point now where he's trying to keep 2 of those big guys, right, in the pantry, the one that we pull out. So we kind of have our own little store of the flavors we like. And then we have a big tub of salt, like pink sea salt or Himalayan sea salt that we got at Costco. That sucker's going to last for at least a couple of years for us, no matter what we do.
Yeah.
I think the whole point, and I personally don't have a seasoning salt recipe. I have more of a house blend kind of thing, a house seasoning. Because I don't, we have Johnny sitting in the cupboard, but we rarely use it because I'm grabbing the other things. If you guys have, these guys know because they've all seen it, but if anybody looks at my spices, my whole top kitchen cupboard is just nothing but spices. Well, it's because I'm grabbing them and using them that way versus unless I make it, a pre-made season. Okay.
Yeah.
The only time I do that is I use Montreal seasoning when I do chicken or pork. That I will use because I haven't fine-tuned that for myself. But
Montreal is like it's like salt that's freshly ground. It's almost like kosher, it's bigger chunks and fresh ground pepper. So bigger chunks of pepper. It's not all this little stuff and then additives added in. We use a lot of Montreal too.
Right. But that's why I like the Montreal is just what you said. It's not necessarily a ton of salt throwing in there. There is salt in it, but it's in bigger chunks. So you're not.
Yeah.
You guys know what I'm saying, but I'm having a hard time explaining it.
Yes.
But it kind of melts on your food too. It creates a really nice crust.
Right.
We like to use the commercially prepared. I'm still working on my own blend, but lemon pepper.
Yeah.
We put that on chicken. We hardly ever use barbecue sauce anymore because we put lemon pepper on our chicken and throw it on the grill or in the oven. Either way.
Right. Yeah.
So we have dehydrated lemon peels right now, and we also have freeze dried. So I just need to come up with that perfect blend that gives us the flavor that we're looking for.
Exactly.
Now dehydrated lemon peels and then ground it down into a powder.
Yes. More like in a spice. I have a coffee thing that's dedicated to spices. I should get my mortar and pestle out again. That would be the better way to do it, I think.
Yeah.
But
that's why I'm trying to find somebody that's freeze drying or dehydrates a larger quantity than they use themselves, because I want citrus peel, lime peel, grapefruit peel, orange peel, because I want to make those blends and have them set there. And I know what's in it. I know what's there.
Exactly.
Suburban Hillbilly said more coarse. That's exactly the terms I was looking for. It's more coarse, so I can control it a little better. And then, like you said, it kind of just melts into your food instead of it being piled onto your food, if that makes any sense. So.
Yeah. Okay, Michelle, can you tell me, what did you do? Did you zest the peels and then, or you put them in there in big chunks?
I took my lemon peeler. I actually have a short.
Oh, okay.
I took my Pampered Chef vegetable peeler, and it's really, really sharp. And I just peeled that outer layer as little pith as I could get in there.
Right.
Till you get down to the lighter color.
Oh yeah, the bright yellow.
Yeah.
And then
okay.
into my and I left them that way to dehydrate. And then I dehydrated them as long as I needed to. And then I followed the Purposeful Pantry's rules of engagement, and I conditioned them. Then I put them back into the dehydrator because, see, I never knew these things until this year.
Yeah.
And then after that is when I powdered them. So I could go get one and show it. It just looks like, it honestly looks like dehydrated egg powder.
How does it?
Yeah, but it's really good. And like I've taken a pinch and thrown it into my tea and just let it flavor my tea. And also, I haven't done it yet, but I think it would be an excellent addition to, like, when you're making zucchini bread this summer, or really anything, you know, a pinch of lemon, dried lemon rind, even like chicken soup or something like that. It just changes the flavor, and you can't put your finger on it, but it rounds it out, if that makes any sense.
Well, and when we did Last Chance Cook Off, I toyed around with a couple different citrus ones, and I made that citrus blend, and that was it took the meat to a whole new level as far as
tenderize it.
Because, yeah. So,
all right, Tony.
Excuse me. What was that? So what I want to go into real quick, just so I don't forget. I mean, we can carry our conversation on here, but I want to make sure the topic is discussed as much as I was looking at it. Here are some tips for those that either are in a position where they're getting older, they have a medical condition, maybe they're downsizing in size of the family, the cooking processes that they're doing, or preparation processes they're in. Use items with larger handles so they're easier to grab or grip. Okay. That will make it easier, especially if you have arthritis. You're not having the grip. You're just kind of gripping. Okay.
Yeah.
Double-handled pots, pans, mugs make it easier to carry. Okay. I don't know what happened, but I guess it's me and you, Ginger. So
yes. Oh, there's Dale.
There's Dale. Weighted utensils can help people with Parkinson tremors. So that's something to keep in mind. Okay. Because it's heavier. So it's not light, and it's not being able to be moved as much. They have to, you guys all get what I'm saying.
Yes.
Jar openers make it easier if you can get them. Most of the time, if you can get an electric one, or one that's not having to use a lot of tension so that they can turn those. That's my next one, the electric can opener, preferably the one that cuts the lid on the outside instead of making it a sharp edge.
You can go to my description box and hit my link if you want there.
Shameless plug.
Yeah.
Actually, Tony, to open jars and water bottles. Can you see that?
Hold on.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Any size bottle, any size. These are fabulous. So it grips anything you need it to open up. That you're here. I'll keep it like that. But it really does work very well for opening bottles. And sometimes you have a health issue, right, where you're like arthritis or something, where twisting just doesn't work for you. And I think this is a tool worth having, and you can get them at most kitchen stores or anywhere for $5 to $10. Usually you can get them for about $5-$6.
So I just went to your first video I come to, and I don't see anything about the canner.
Oh, really? Do you not have the Kitchen Mama in there?
I only have it in the one that.
Oh, he only put it in the one where I have the Kitchen Mama. So it's one of the chili smackdowns.
Oh, okay. I'll just jump over to one of those.
The chili smackdowns because I used tomato paste in it.
Yep.
Okay.
Because that's what I got one of those.
There we go. Okay, I found.
Yeah, it's really cool though, you guys. It really is.
There you go. So this is the one that she was just showing. If you have it right there, yeah, there you go.
But it has a magnet, and this will even do. This is what we liked about this one. We did some research. It'll go around like a square sardine can, or a gigantic can, or a small, the really small tomato paste cans. So
Mhm.
the shape and the size of the can do not matter with this. That's
Good.
what
Yeah.
Thank you, Cindy. Rena LaRue said that she uses a peeler for citrus rather than a zester, and that's the same thing I do. I
Mhm.
peel it so I can see where the pith is, and I'm
Yeah.
trying to stay away from it. So,
Yeah.
And that's what we do too, Rena. It's the best way. It really is.
and then Suburban Hillbilly said anti-fatigue mats to replace your kitchen rugs. That would be helpful.
Yes.
Yes.
And I think
got a
Four
big,
Jars
nice
has a
one.
really nice one, don't
Four
they?
Jars does have them now, and
Yeah.
I think it's inexpensive compared to what you can pay out there. So you'll have to
Yeah.
look and research your own, but there are places you can get it. So I want to run through this list real quick, and then we'll come back to you, Ginger, because you look like you got show and tell. So
I did. Well, while you're doing that, I'll be right back.
okay.
Go get more stuff.
Yes.
So another thing you can do instead of worrying about a bunch of knives is use a pizza cutter. They really help when cutting sandwiches, grilled cheese sandwiches, pancakes, waffles, things like that. That might help some people out. Melon baller to deseed vegetables like cucumbers, peppers,
Yeah.
tomatoes, things like that. Measuring cups, like a larger measuring cup that has 2 grips on it, so you can transfer water over to your pot if you don't want to carry the whole big 8-quart, 12-quart, 20-quart thing. You can do it that way as a fallback too. And then here's another thing that a lot of us wouldn't even think about. When you're ordering a cookbook or a recipe, get it in large print to make it easier to read.
Yes.
Okay. So
Mhm.
yes, Dale. Oh,
I
you're agreeing with
agree.
me. Okay. Okay.
And especially measuring cups, make sure that the measuring cups have large print on them.
Yes.
Yes.
You can do that. Those are pretty easy. Your measuring spoons now you can get with big old letters on them. And without going into much detail, there's an idea. Anyways,
Yes.
so show and tell, Ginger, what do you got for us?
When I won't say when I first started canning. I got the black grippy jar lifter.
I'll
I
be
got
right back.
that
Yes.
one. I got that one to start with. And then a couple years later, I upgraded and I bought a whole entire set, which had the magnetic tool and the Pokey Joe on this side. It has the tongs so you can grab the hot jars. It has the green, oh, I have them upside down, jar lifter. But the other thing it came with was a jar opener. So this, now it can't do, that's as small as it will go. So it can't do like really, really small jars, but the bigger ones are usually the ones because your hand can't span and grip, and grip and turn. These are great. And all this stuff, if I'm not mistaken, I got this whole entire kit at Walmart in the canning section.
For like
if I
15
remember right.
$20, right?
Yeah, it was like 1995 or
You know
if
what
it's
I
Walmart,
used?
it's 1996.
That jar, that last thing that you showed, kind of curvy.
Yes.
All I
Ooh,
ever used that
did you
for
see
is
Michelle
to grab a
doing the
hot jar.
curvy?
In the curvy? Do what?
I use that to pick up hot jars so I don't have
Yes.
to have gloves or mats on my hands. And then I can move them over for, like, JJ and I sometimes can in stages. So I'll
Yes.
fill the jar and then I'll I'll wipe the top off. Then I move it over so that he can put the lid on, put the ring on, and get it into the canner. It goes so much faster with 2 people. But I use that to move the jars so that I don't have to burn my hand.
It's a Lucy and Ethel assembly line, right?
10-4.
Roger that.
Lucy and Ricky.
Oh, Lucy and Ricky, he says.
Lucy and Ricky, yes. Yeah, I don't blame him. I wouldn't want to be Ethel either.
Lucy,
Well, look at her.
Some explaining to do.
I never even thought about that. Unmanned Urban Homestead said Ginger, the middle part does the smaller ones. Right here. Okay. Well, there you go. Look at you. You learned me something today.
That sounds like a creek chat to me.
Yes. That's a Dale chat.
Oh yes.
I know.
See,
I need
that, I
those.
cannot live without my jar
I
lifter that
want-
has the spring.
I gotta
loaded
have
on
it.
What is it?
I gotta have it.
Loaded jar lifter, so you don't have to.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, it
And
is
I-
wonderful.
This whole hand
And
has
you
been
just hold it
rebuilt.
just like that, and it holds in place. Doesn't it's got these other things here that make sure it locks in place, and
Yeah.
Mhm.
there you go.
Me too, Dark Lord Minute. I want one of those too.
Hey,
Maybe
that would be good
for,
ideas. That'd be good
for-
ideas for giveaways.
Yes.
for Marmalade May.
I like your idea.
I like it too.
So,
Maybe I'll order
me, that-
one to
that's a
keep
great
and one
seg-
to give away.
Yes, Dale.
That's a great segue back to our aging in the pantry. Switching to a tool like that, because I'm exactly like Ginger is saying. This hand, I have severe nerve damage in my elbow, so I don't feel these fingers. This one, I got that partial plus carpal tunnel, so I can't.
Mhm.
Like, part of the time, I don't even feel my fingers when I go to grab something. Or if I
Yeah.
have that spring loaded deal, you know, and I know that comes with age, that comes with
Yes.
arthritis and damage and stuff like that, you know.
Mhm.
And I function that way all the time. I have nerve damage in my back, which then goes into all my digits, literally. I'm sitting here right now and I can't even feel these two fingers on both hands. So
Oh.
can you imagine when I'm doing 4 or 5 sessions of canning and not having
Yeah.
this?
Yeah.
The one
Mhm.
Ginger has, I there would be no way I could do it that way anymore. I can't.
Yeah.
And what about the other one? Because when you're doing jelly, how many jars of little half pints of jelly are you doing at a time? So I don't
Yep.
care how how much stamina your hands have. At a certain point, they start to cramp up.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yes, they
Yes.
do.
You're
Yeah.
right. You're right.
Yeah.
And I have dandelion jelly in the works, which when I usually make this, it usually makes about 12 of those half pints.
I need to make some of that because we don't spray our yard for weeds. So we've got nice natural dandelion. I need to
Make sure they're not
Ooh.
the fake ones. Jesse and Lisa were saying the other night that Lisa had picked some of the fake dandelions. They're called fake dandelions, and I never even knew they were out there. But they grow in a bunch. There's several flowers, and they're tall. And then the flower buds on the top. An actual dandelion is only going to have one flower.
That's
in
what we have.
the center, it's going to be low to the ground, and you're going to have those dandelion
Oh,
leaves.
okay.
Yeah.
I
And
didn't realize.
dandelion leaves too, because that's a good bitter, isn't it?
Yes, it is. They're good in salads.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What is it? I have never eaten one. So is it more like endive or endive? I don't know how you say it. But is it bitter like that, or is it?
Well, I'm Southern, so I say endive.
Okay, well, I can go with that.
Yeah, but you're also going swimming, not eating a lettuce, so there's a
This
difference.
is true. What I tell you, how do you spell W? D-U-B-Y-A, W.
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 Oh,
Yes,
funny.
it is kind of a bitter, but it's not as bitter as arugula. Arugula is very like, ooh.
It's
Unless
got
you
a
get
peppery note to it.
I like
Oh, it is.
arugula, but I don't like those little hairy ones because they're not
Right.
arugula. I don't know even what it's called. But when I see those in the lettuce mixes, maybe it's just my taste buds. Those are so bitter, and I just
That's called mold. Don't eat the hairy stuff.
I said hairy, not fuzzy.
Hello, Joyce Stewart. Thank you for coming in. So
endive,
you
yes.
get the gist. You get the
Suburban
gist of
Illinois.
where we're. You get the gist of
Mhm.
where we're going, and I think the
Yes.
important thing is try to make life as easy on yourself as possible. The other thing I
Mhm.
would throw into that is only make enough of what you're going to consume. Instead of it being 6 of you, you were prepping, meaning you're canning or dehydrating or now freeze drying or putting in your freezer or up on your shelves, whatever it is you're doing. Be conscious of that, because if
Yeah.
you don't, going to be a waste of money. It's going to be a waste of time, and the food will go bad much quicker. You will see it going bad much quicker if there's only 2 of you eating a 6-person meal for 365 days. So
Yes.
be conscious
And I
of it.
just
Make
saw.
sure.
Oh, go.
No, I'm just going to say be conscious of it. And as the transition happens, whether it's family size, whether it's medical condition, whether it's job change, whether it's relocation, always remember that you're going back and reevaluating your pantry, because there's nothing wrong with making a change midstream if it's a forced change. So you can adapt to that much easier than throwing away $500 worth of food because you never got to it.
Yeah. That
So,
I
go
hate
ahead.
throwing food away. Throwing food away really, oh my gosh, that makes me so, I get so mad at myself for not
like
doing
money.
something with it. Yeah.
Huh?
So I had seen Joy Stewart. I didn't see her come in. So hi, Joy. But she said dandelion jelly and dandelion wine are delicious. And that's funny because I knew of dandelion jelly, and I've been making that. I knew nothing about dandelion wine until I was actually picking the dandelions. And a gentleman stopped me and said, "When's that wine gonna be ready?" And I was like, it's not gonna be wine, it's gonna be jelly. And he was like, "Oh, okay." Till then I didn't even know you could make wine out of dandelions. So I'll have to look into that because I can find them hand over foot where I'm at right now.
Stephanie says, pay attention to how much food you're going through and how long it takes you before you start getting tired of it. Put it in the freezer, pull it out another day, whatever it may be. But I think the bigger picture to that is if you're paying attention to what you're consuming and how long you're consuming it in, it will theoretically give you an idea of how much you need over a certain amount of time. So,
yeah.
Deb R says use a knife with a finger hole in it since she has no feeling in 3 fingers. Sutton's Days has listed on her recommended products, which I have seen that list, and she is correct about that. Well, Suburban Hillbilly thought you were Southern.
Who?
You, I'm assuming, because you didn't know about dandelion wine.
Oh, yeah, I am. No, I'm sorry. I'm not a big wine drinker.
Right.
I don't pay attention to wines very much.
How would you even do that? Would you have to put it into something?
I'm assuming it's like your hooch.
You put it in.
Did you see how she said that? I'm assuming it's like your hooch.
I'm sorry. Let me clarify. The pomegranate hooch that you and JJ made.
There you go. There you go.
Sorry, Michelle.
I exactly as you meant it.
Thank you. Apparently, some people didn't.
We call that hooch here, and that's all we call hooch, okay?
Okay, thanks.
Anyways, moving right along.
Sunday afternoon.
How did we get here?
I'm
Did
just
we
like
get here?
Kermit the Frog over here. I'm just going to drink my tea and watch it unfold.
My mother went from cooking 14 to cooking 6 to cooking 34. She never downsized, and extras would either sadly go bad or go to neighbors.
Ours usually makes it out of the house right afterwards, so we don't usually have to deal with leftovers. But I'd rather have that. I'd much rather have cooked it, utilized it for what we needed it for, and then somebody else get the extended life out of it, especially if I know they're going to eat it. Then I don't have a problem with sending it down the road, because if it sits here, odds are we're not going to eat it just because we don't eat that. It's not that we don't eat leftovers. I don't mean that. But the way we eat is a little different than most situations. And so I already know if I got a big bowl of chili, there might be 1 or 2 bowls out of it, but not the rest of it. And so I'd much rather lose the 1 or 2 bowls and send it out to get eaten or freeze it, whichever I'm going to do with it. So
you must go through a fortune in to-go containers, Tony.
No,
No,
it goes out. They bring them back. It goes out.
Oh,
They bring
okay.
them back.
It's a trade. You
It's a
don't
trade.
get
Yep.
more food if you didn't bring your container back.
You know what? Sometimes when we're going to have a big family dinner, I've already trained our family, bring some containers. So if there's
Yep.
something that you want, go ahead and take it home. And that's fine with
That's
me.
good.
Especially around Thanksgiving and Christmas when we have the meals that we have.
Yeah.
You're using tons of tubs of whipped cream and cottage cheese and yada, 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 whatever the other
I
things
know.
are. And everybody's like, oh, let's throw them away. It's like, no, that's exiting out the door with food in it. So don't
Yeah.
throw it away.
I love your Seinfeld. Yada, yada, yada.
Yada, yada, yada. Thank you. Did you guys have anything else to add to the conversation that we haven't talked about or you want to make sure gets out there?
Well, like for gardening tools, because we were talking about tools and ergonomics and everything.
Mhm.
You know, we all used to have the old, little diggers for the garden and everything. They had the straight handle.
Mhm.
And now they're making, I'm not going to go outside right now because it's raining, but now they're making, the ergonomic handles for almost everything that you use in your garden. You can get longer handles for things, you used to get down on your knees and dig and everything. Well, now there are extensions on these things that make it so you don't have to get down on the ground for every single thing you do. And it's very, very helpful, I think.
Yep.
And even the clippers are now coming ergonomically designed,
Yep.
and that's really helpful because you're opening and closing all the time to cut.
Yep. Yep. And I lost my spring out of mine when I was doing the lemon.
Oh,
The lemon cleaner, the lemon pine cleaner, when I cut all those the pine branches or clippings, I came back up to the house and I was like, why are my clippers just flopping? The little spring fell out of it. I went back down there and hunted it down and I found it and I
There you
put it
go.
back together.
And
I
then
was
you
like,
got
I
a
gotta
Joe
have
fix it to fix it for you.
That's
Yeah.
right.
I gotta have that spring.
Well, being that we're talking about pantry and aging in the pantry, I also consider our freezers part of our pantry.
Yep.
So when we look at it from the protein side, from the animal-based protein side, or from the meat that you're getting, how that has to change as we age. One thing that a lot of us are going to start losing are our teeth, unfortunately, and things along that line. So putting steak and all this in our freezer doesn't really benefit a lot. So you'll have to gradually start changing that over to more roast that you cook for longer, more grind meat,
Yeah.
things
Cottage
along that line.
pie.
But
Shepherd's pie.
Shepherd, oh yeah.
If it has
Shepherd's pie, though,
cottage pie,
truly.
if it has lamb, if it has beef, it's cottage.
Yeah.
If it has lamb,
Yeah.
it's shepherd's. Did you know that?
Yeah. Did you know that?
Yes.
Little known
But I
fact.
put hamburger in it because I don't.
That's
I
called
can't
cottage
afford
pie.
lamb.
Pie. That's cottage pie.
Hey,
Okay.
we make tater tot casserole.
Oh my god.
That's called Southern Cottage.
I really want to try that. That looks so good.
You've never had it?
No, because I just had my first tater tot about 10 years ago.
Wow, who
Don't be a
deprived you as a
hater.
child?
Don't be a hater.
Who
I grew up
deprived-
on artichokes, buddy.
Artichokes. Oh my.
No, my mom and dad used to make homemade fries. They would just fry up a batch of homemade fries. And so they
Hello,
very,
Dempsey.
very rarely bought tater tots and prepared potatoes. That's all.
I get it.
Oh, I love
So,
tater tots.
With tater tot casserole, we actually make two of them. We do one that has corn and green beans in it, and then we do another one that has broccoli and cauliflower in it. Because we have two different flavor profiles in this house, so we
I
always
don't put
make
anything in it except
one
the
sounds
hamburger,
good
the
for
cream of
me.
mushroom soup. Then you put the layer of cheese on that. Then you put the tater tots on that, and it's got to be
Yep.
Velveeta because it's got to melt.
No, it doesn't.
Well, I
No,
mean,
it
it doesn't have to be Velveeta, but Velveeta makes it better. That's what they say.
Everything's better with blue bonnet on it.
Yes. But I don't have it. There's no veggies in mine. Dale, how do
Liven
you
up,
make yours, Dale?
your experience and throw some vegetables in it.
We put
What do you?
no. So
Patty says sharp cheddar grated. Sorry,
Yeah.
extra sharp. Sorry.
we
Okay.
do the same. We use
Go ahead, Dale.
cheddar or
I
sharp
like that
cheddar
sharp.
grated.
Yeah.
We've kind of changed throughout the years. It
Hello,
started
Jamie.
off as a vegetable and meat deal because, let's be honest, it was you could add vegetables to it because they were cheaper than the hamburger was,
Hmm.
so it could go farther. Then it got to the point that we didn't like the vegetables in it, so it was just burger and our cream and mushroom. Now I'm kind of going back the other way. I want green beans and corn in with it. You
Yeah.
know?
Yep.
Mindy
Now
Brown
Joey's gonna
says
want that.
he's already put in there that he's got to go to town and get tater tots. Thanks, Dale.
Yeah.
I know. I want to go. We have a Smart and Final not too far away, and I'm thinking, in the
Yeah.
air fryer, that's the best way to make tater tots and get them super crispy too.
And we've
Yeah.
actually done a tater tot casserole that we sat in a smaller dish in the air fryer and talk about crispy on top. It is
Oh.
wonderful.
Mhm.
I do want to get. I don't want to miss this point. Cindy Brown has talked a couple times about chest freezers being too hard to get.
Yes.
So consider upright if you have that opportunity. So
Mm-hmm. That
hello,
is
Jamie
a
Conway
great point.
and Deb C. Thank you for coming in, guys.
Mm-hmm.
So in other words, you just try to keep those things in mind. That's the whole point of this conversation is as we get older and as our situations change, you can't sit there and fill a pantry for 8 people if there's only 2 of you eating it. You can't sit there and keep getting all these nice new gadgets if you are unable to use them, let alone have a use for them, I guess would be the next
Yeah.
point. So
Yeah.
and be conscious of our bodies naturally making changes and how are we going to adapt for that moving forward. Now,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I'm 35 years old, but reality is I'm now 53. So, I mean, the way Dale puts it out there, as intrusive as some people might find it, there's a reality to it. You know, you've got to be conscious of what you're moving forward into, and don't make it so that you're not unable to function. That's
Yeah.
really
Exactly.
And there are things that you need to consider too, like
Excuse me.
in the kitchen. Think about. I know it might cost a little money, and we have not done this yet, but it's coming. Is to get those roller cabinets so that you can
Yes.
pull your items out of the lower cabinets shelves.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not so because you getting up is so much harder than getting down on the floor anymore.
Intentional and unintentional.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then also think about in your bathrooms, if you're getting ready in any way to remodel or anything, if you're not taking a bath, make it so that you could roll a wheelchair or anything like that into the shower. That
Mhm.
you won't have to lift up your legs, because I had a family member who lost the ability to lift her legs, even over a little small ledge.
Yeah.
Big deal.
It is.
Mhm.
So if she would have been able to essentially shuffle in there, right? There was
Yeah.
less of a tripping risk. She was more likely
Mhm.
to be able to take a shower regularly.
Right.
And
Yeah.
again, it sounds like a little thing, but when you can't do it anymore, it is a really big barrier in your life.
Yeah.
My
Well, and I
grandmother,
think
Hey,
Go ahead.
Jamie.
grandmother has Parkinson's, and it's progressed quite rapidly. In fact, we just discovered it in the last couple of years.
Mhm.
And she got to the point that she wouldn't cook for herself because she couldn't stand and cook.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like her legs wouldn't. If she moved to go prepare something, she couldn't get to the stove fast enough before it would burn. Or
right.
Mm. Oh my
So,
goodness.
you need to think about one of those higher stools, that you can put possibly in your kitchen.
Yeah.
I don't mean a toilet stool. I mean one of the taller where you're like at a mid set.
Mm-hmm.
because that way that she could rest in between,
Right.
you know, or set it in a common area and she could go between it, not get tripped up and fall, you know.
Like a
Right.
bar stool, kind of.
Yeah, kind of.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or a bistro stool or
A
whatever.
bistro stool
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
Yep. Not one that'll swivel, but you know,
No.
you
Yeah.
follow what I'm
Don't
saying.
need to be doing the fair ride on top
No.
of it, but yeah, I get it. So
Did you see what the purring lady said?
You need to pull that up, Tony.
anyway, so next week
I think
we
that's
talk
funny.
next week we talk about medicines, and I'm going to throw first aid into that as well. What we need to be putting in our pantries, or even if it's repetitive and we've all heard it before, maybe we'll trigger somebody to remember, oh, I forgot about that, or I didn't think about that. So that's your homework for next week, is to come with a list of 5 things that you would not think all the others would have. Okay. I don't want us all come back and say, oh, Band-Aids. You know,
Okay.
that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
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 Okay. Oh, I got a good one in my head right now. Okay.
Okay.
I'm not letting that cat out of the bag.
All right. So we've been here almost an hour. Anything else you guys want to throw in?
I really want
Don't
to tell
forget the
everybody in
thumbs up.
chat. They've got some great ideas in chat right now.
And I was going to tell them that. Thank you for the interaction, because it's been very, very helpful to me, as well as the others and everybody sitting in there. So great information. And I love how you guys really interact. It helps us as well as helps you. So
Yeah.
thank you, Charlie. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Thanks. Now I got to go make a tater tot casserole.
I need to go get my loofah seeds that Suburban Hillbilly sent to me. Yay.
Oh, nice.
I'm so
Yay.
excited. Yeah.
Yep. All right. Well, thank you, everybody in chat. I appreciate it. Those that have modded, I appreciate that every time you guys do it. Thank you very much. Thank you to you guys coming. Obviously, without the two sides of the coin, as well as myself, we couldn't do this. And it's a lot of, I feel like it's useful information, because the chat's showing us it's useful information. So,
Yes.
And make sure you hit the like button, please.
Yep.
Please.
Yes, please do.
Yeah.
All right, guys. We will see you. We'll be back next Sunday. So
yes, for this.
we'll see you then. For
Next
this,
Sunday.
we'll be back here Tuesday for phase 2 of the game night playoffs. And then we'll be doing we moved our food, $5 food pantry food challenge catch up. We moved to next Friday. So that will be next Friday night. So anybody interested in that information, come on over and you can see it. And thank you guys. Have a good night.
Thank you. Bye,
Bye.
guys.